Exclusive contracted novel by Falun Novel Network. Anti-Japanese War. Creating Iron Fist Troop, slaying Northwest Shanxi. Soldier King Su Yi travels through the world of Liangjian and starts by defeating the Japanese machine gun team with bare hands, shocking Zhao Gang and Wei Monk. Joining the Independent Regiment has added an unparalleled general to the northwest of Shanxi. Many days later. On the surface, the Yamazaki Brigade engaged in fierce battles with the arsenal, but in reality, it attracted attention. The Yamamoto Special Forces secretly attacked the CEO's base. Su Ye's perfect ambush successfully rescued the CEO. The CEO was shocked. With a battalion of thousands of people and equipment from all over the United States, he was promoted. Must be promoted. Su Yi, who made great contributions, was promoted to the rank of regimental leader. Team Code. Iron Fist Team. When tens of thousands of elite, 155mm howitzers, Garland rifles, Thompson submachine guns appeared in front of the Japanese, they were frightened and fled at the wind. The Iron Fist Troop is also known as the Ghost Seeing Sorrow in Northwest Shanxi. Falun Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Time travel encounters the Japanese machine gun squad. Seeking fresh flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What's going on? The scene in front of Su Yi made him look bewildered. Looking around, a few dry grasses were growing against the cold wind on a bare yellow soil. The north wind was howling, causing pain in the face. Where's my comrade in arms? Where's my gun? Where's my special backpack? Sui was originally a special forces soldier from the Dragon Kingdom, but unfortunately, he was shot while carrying out a mission. When he opened his eyes, he was shocked to find himself appearing here. Where did you get your comrades? Their hands are empty. As for the special backpack, he is now only wearing a top sewn with sheepskin and fabric. Rubbing his chest, Su Yi realized that there were no bullet marks on his chest. It was then that he realized that he seemed to have traveled through time. Where is this? Ding! Welcome to the world of Liangjian. This system is called the Anti-Japanese War God Level Selection System. Suddenly, an electronic prompt sound came to Su Ye's mind. It's really time traveling. Electronic novels can't deceive me, even the system prompt sound is the same. Although Su Yi was shocked, he quickly accepted the fact that the special forces were shot and killed while carrying out their mission, and accidentally wore a sword in the world. Su Yi is a bit panicked now, but more excited. After all, as a special forces soldier in his past life, who wouldn't want to kill a few more devils? Distributing newbie rewards, congratulations to the host for obtaining S.level fighting skill. A warm current swept through Su Ye's body, and then he felt an unprecedented fighting experience, like a dam breaking through a dam, pouring into his limbs. As a special forces soldier in his past life, his fighting ability was not bad, but compared to his current self, there is still a huge gap. However, Su Yi couldn't be happy in time because a voice suddenly came from his ear. Pay attention to the surroundings. Accelerate forward. As a seasoned audience of small island videos, Su Yi immediately recognized that it was Japanese and his voice was filled with a strong Japanese and Japanese flavor. Su Yi instinctively turned around, and a dog skin ointment chess piece gradually emerged from the loess slope. A row of Japanese soldiers wearing yellow military uniforms were walking up neatly from below the slope. Little devil. Su Yi squinted his eyes. Years of special training have made him accustomed to analyzing the situation in the first place and identifying opponents. There is no cover at all around here, running now is a sure way to die. The only chance to survive is to get close to the devils. Unexpectedly, you took the damn thing. Coincidentally, when Su Yi turned around, the little devils also noticed him. Fortunately, Su Yi was wearing a fur coat, and the Japanese thought he was a hunter, so they didn't come up and fired at him. Don't be afraid, we, the Imperial Army, are friends. A Japanese servant approached Su Yi and exchanged ideas in broken Chinese. Ding. Detected that the host is encountering a small team of ghosts, and the host is facing system selection, option 1. Treat the little devils as lackeys and reward them with the title of the first trader in northwest Shanxi. Option 2. Immediately confront the little devils head-on and reward them with an MP-18 submachine gun. Option 3. Let the little devils relax their vigilance, give them a surprise attack and take them all in one pot, reward them with S. Level divine marksmanship. The system's choices came to mind. A traitor. How could it be? It is impossible for a traitor to be a traitor, and in this lifetime, it is impossible to be a traitor to a little devil. If you choose the second option, you will be a passionate man facing the little devil's head-on, and there will be rewards, but doing so is likely to result in death. The devils behind him are more than 20 meters away and have no cover. If they rush towards Mangan, they will be shot into a sieve. So, Su Yi decisively chose 3 options and could also obtain S.level divine marksmanship. Isn't it beautiful? Immediately, Su Yi narrowed his eyes and smiled all over his face. Tai Jun. I drip, good people. Although he said so, Su Ye's mind was rapidly calculating. With Su Ye's current skills, he can easily kill these 2 devils in front of him and then grab a large cover of the devils within 3 seconds. But the 11 devils behind him can turn themselves into mud within 3 seconds of him grabbing a gun. So Su Yi can only hold on for now. At the same time, on the distant Luz slope, 3 people are galloping up on horses. The leader was dressed in a light blue 8th Route Army uniform, clean and refined, with a scholarly expression on his face. This person is none other than Zhao Gang. A few days ago, Kong Jie's Independent Regiment was ambushed by a small group of Japanese troops and suffered a humiliating defeat. In a fit of anger, the 8th Route chief dismissed Kong Jie's regiment leader and appointed Li Yunlong, who had just been demoted to the server factory, as the Independent Regiment leader. In the first battle of the sneak attack by the Little Devil Special Forces, Li Weining, the political commissar of the Independent Regiment, died. The 386th Brigade arranged for Zhao Gang to go to the Independent Regiment and serve as the temporary political commissar of Li Yunlong's Independent Regiment. At this moment, Zhao Gang was rushing to the headquarters of the Independent Regiment to report. Political Affairs Committee, there's a situation. The guard in front noticed Su Ye's side and quickly pulled the horse back. Zhao Gang, the guards, and Wei Monk immediately dismounted and hid under a dirt slope, holding binoculars to observe the situation. In sight, a hunter was surrounded by a group of little devils. In order to search for weapons on the hunter's body, he took off his clothes and only had a 4-cornered waistband left. Damn it! Little devils, these sons of bitches. Wei Monk was so angry that he punched the earthen slope. Wei Daong, nicknamed Wei Monk, was a Central Army prisoner rescued by Zhao Gang on his way here. Speaking of which, Wei Daong is also a fierce general. He killed 4 Japanese soldiers with bare hands in the prisoner of war camp and escaped from the impregnable prisoner of war camp. Zhao Gang felt that Master Wei was a useful talent and had nowhere to go at the moment, so he took him on the road. Zhao Jing 0, we cannot sit idly by. Wei Hashang said. Of course. Zhao Gang nodded, but don't worry for now, let's see the situation before we talk. Zhao Gang is not a white-faced scholar who only knows how to talk on paper. They only have 3 people, while the devils are one of the entire team, well-trained, and have a machine gun. Blindly going up is like dying. We can only wait for the opportunity. Speaking of Su Yi. After being searched by the Japanese and confirmed that there were no hot weapons or weapons on his body, the Japanese finally felt completely at ease and returned his clothes to Su Yi. As Suyi put on his clothes, he chuckled and said, "Your Highness, let me speak for myself. I am a great citizen." Meanwhile, Suyi is also calculating his breakthrough route. This machine gun squad has a total of 12 devils. There are 4 devils operating a machine gun at the same time. One is a shooter, one is a feeder, one is a breeder, and the other is a waving hand. If you want to kill 12 devils by hand alone, machine guns are the key. But Suyi did not show it, and in order to wait for the opportunity, he was still afraid of the Japanese. A person with a thunderous chest and a face like a flat lake. "You're talking about Suyi." A Japanese ghost patted Suyi's shoulder and said, "You don't have to be afraid. Can you tell us how to get to Jiajiatun?" "I see. Emotional little devil, this is getting lost." 2 people shot the machine gun team. Shocking Zhao Gang and Wei He. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tai Jun, you're completely going in the opposite direction. You need to walk this way, then that way, and then that way again, and you'll be there. Suyi didn't know where Jiajiatun was, and he scratched and spread nonsense with his fingers. The Japanese were surrounded with a bewildered expression, clearly not understanding. "Gizi. You drip, speak slowly. The opportunity is here." Suyi had a clever idea and immediately came up with a way to deal with these devils. "Tai Jun, why don't I lead you on the way?" Suyi fabricated. "Yoxi." The little devil immediately nodded and smiled contentedly. "All right, you can go and guide us. When you arrive at Jiajiatun, the Imperial Army will reward you with $2. Your Majesty is generous." Suyi turned around to lead the way. Kosui's direction was the position of the machine gunner, and at the same time, the 4 of the machine gunners stood up and prepared to move forward. As soon as he approached, Suyi's gaze froze, and his thumb, index finger, and middle finger became eagle claws. He suddenly turned around and grabbed the necks of the machine gun shooter and commander. Click. With a forceful grip, 3 fingers instantly penetrated into the throats of 2 little devils, and when pinched again, the bones were instantly crushed. Blood and broken bones splattered everywhere, and the 2 little devils died on the spot. Next up. Sui's movements were like lightning, and in the blink of an eye, he came behind one of the little devils. He used him as a shield and kicked the bullet-feeding devils. With just a click, Suyi kicked and broke the neck of the Japanese. Suyi also took advantage of the situation and took away the Japanese soldier's sword. The Japanese soldier on the left was about to shoot when Suyi cut off his head with a single blow. Speaking slowly, but in reality, it's just a moment. Throughout the process, Suyi only used 3 moves. When the devils reacted, all 4 machine gunners had already been wiped out. This is the power of S.level combat skills. The leader of the Japanese commander picked up his gun and immediately shouted loudly, "Ba Guyalu. Kill me." But at the moment of speaking, Suyi had already snatched the machine gun. Suyi had already noticed that it was a ZB-26 light machine gun. The ZB-26 light machine gun, also known as the Czech light machine gun, is characterized by its 30-round magazine located above the barrel, which moves the aiming baseline towards the left side of the magazine. Generally speaking, a machine gun needs to be controlled by 3.4 people, but currently there are no such conditions. Fortunately, Suyi himself has great strength and directly carries the Czech style. Due to the urgency of the situation, the rifling of the machine gun was open, and Suyi did not need to load it after bringing it over. Suyi pulled the trigger and it was a crazy volley. Dad dada dada dada, dad dada dada dada, dad dada dada dada, accompanied by the dense sound of machine gun fire, bullets shot forward horizontally one by one. Suyi held the crooked handle and scanned, like a battlefield killing god. The devils were already knocked down by Suyi before they even had a chance to shoot. Quickly, the machine gun made a clicking sound, and all 30 bullets were fired. Suyi wanted to load and continue shooting, but saw all the devils in front of him fall into a pool of blood. Due to their close proximity, the bullet's immense power directly penetrated the body of the Japanese devils. Each of the 8 devils had at least 3 blood holes on their bodies, and a large stream of blood was flowing out with hot air. The 30 bullets produced a stunning effect of 40. Noticing that some of the devils were still convulsing after falling to the ground, Sui immediately drew his military knife and went up to stab his anus. Damn it! Goori's little devil dares to search Grandpa's body. I'll crush your chrysanthemums. The Japanese officer immediately let out a howl that was even worse than killing a pig. Grasping the handle of the knife, Sui flipped his wrist. The blade rotated 360 degrees inside the chrysanthemum, and even if the Japanese had not been shot dead by the machine gun, it was in excruciating pain. In order to ensure that the Japanese did not feign death, Sui stabbed the bodies on the ground one by one. 12 devils, a machine gun squad. Just a few seconds by Sui. Far away. Zhao Gang, Wei Daong, and the security guard behind the earthen slope were directly fooled by thunder. What? What? Political Commissar Zhao, I'm not dreaming, am I? That's a machine gun squad of the Little Devils. Absolutely the elite of the Little Devils, they were slaughtered by someone. This too crazy. That's amazing. A person who was unarmed actually snatched a weapon from a fully armed Little Devil, and in the blink of an eye, it was all in seconds. The King of War, the absolute King of War. Even Wei Daong, who was brave and skilled in battle, showed a surprised expression at this moment. He killed 4 Japanese soldiers with his bare hands in the Qingshan prisoner of war camp, but the situation at the time was that they were all unarmed. Wei Daong killed them in a form of martial arts competition, and then took advantage of the chaos in the prisoner of war camp to escape. But the hunter in front of him is facing a team of fully armed Japanese soldiers with a machine gun on his own. This courage, this wisdom, and the calmness and decisiveness in the face of such difficulties. Thumb. He admired Wei Daong. Talent, this is a talent that must be brought to our 8th Root Army. Zhao Gang, who had regained his senses, quickly stood up and mounted his horse, afraid that the young man in front of him would walk away. Let's go over and take a look, he said. The guards and Wei Daong quickly mounted their horses and followed behind Zhao Gang. 3S. Level marksmanship. Mutations arise suddenly. Seeking fresh flowers. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Detected that the host successfully killed the Japanese machine gun team and obtained S.level divine marksmanship. An electronic prompt sound came to Su Ye's mind, followed by a warm current. The first thing that made Su Ye feel the change in his body was his eyes. Significantly improved vision. Even the frame rate and frequency of visual images have become higher, as if upgrading from 4K TV to 8K is as obvious. Subsequently, there was a flood-like frenzy of experience in shooting techniques, as well as a significant improvement in the most important psychological qualities of being a sniper. Now my sniping ability should surpass Zhang Taofang. In his past life, Sui admired the sniper god Zhang Taofang the most. With an 800-meter machine vision, he was like a god. Sui now has a sniper level that surpasses him. Sui put away his gun and weapons, and because it was too cold, he even took off the Japanese cotton army coat and put it on himself. People nowadays don't eat as nutritious as they do in later generations. Generally, their height is below 1.7 meters, and the Little Devils are even shorter, usually only 1.6 to 1.65 meters. However, Su Ye's height exceeds 1.8 meters. Wearing the Little Devil's leather boots and cotton military coat, he suddenly felt like wearing a tight-fitting suit. At this moment, a sound of footsteps suddenly came from Su Ye's ear. He reflexively turned around and picked up the Japanese cover, aiming at the person behind him. Take a closer look. 3 people, 2 of whom are wearing light blue military uniforms and blue military hats, with a 5-pointed star sewn in the middle of the hats. 8th Root Army.
There is also a tall and powerful man next to him, over 1.9 meters tall, like an iron tower. The TV drama Liangjian has been watched by Suyi no less than 8 times, and the protagonist in it can be remembered even when he turns into a gray. The one with a gentle and scholarly appearance is Zhao Gang. And who is that silly monk, not Wei Daong? These two people actually went together, and Wei Monk was still wearing clothes from the Central Army. It seems that the current plot point is that Zhao Gang has not yet joined the Independent Regiment, and Wei Monk has just escaped from the Qingshan prisoner of war camp. Suddenly, Suyi locked onto the current timeline. Ding! Trigger selection upon detecting the current situation of the host, option 1. Kill these 3 people directly, steal their weapons and become bandits, reward a hard-earned BMW. Option 2. After chatting with them for a few words, choose to leave and join the 358th Regiment under Chu Yunfei's command, becoming a Jin Sui army and rewarding them with MP5 submachine guns X5. Option 3. Join the Independent Regiment of the 386th Brigade of the 8th Route Army and become an 8th Route Army member. Reward MP18 submachine gun X10. Almost at the same time, Suye's mind once again transmitted the task of the system. Killing Zhao Gang and Wei Monk, they are all anti-Japanese heroes. How could Suyi do this and choose to keep being passed away? As for the remaining 2 options, Suyi decisively chose the third one. The 8th Route Army and the Independent Regiment. No need for the system to say that Suyi would do the same. In this era, the best way to kill the Japanese is naturally to join the military, not to mention that Suyi was originally a Special Forces soldier. And naturally, those who join the army cannot participate in the Central Army. After all, it is an obvious question whether the Central Army or the 8th Route Army will ultimately come to the end. Who are you and what are you doing? Sui lowered his guard, but he did not put down his gun. Zhao Gang took a step forward and said, "Brother, you don't have to confront us in battle. We are the 8th Route Army." Speaking, Zhao Gang also pointed to his armband, the proof of the revolutionary 8th Route Army. The 8th Route Army, really? Suyi nodded and immediately put down his gun. "Hello, I am Zhao Gang from the Political Affairs Committee of the Independent Regiment of the 386th Brigade of the 8th Route Army. Nice to meet you." Zhao Gang reached out and smiled. "You are the political commissar of the independent group." Suyi and Zhao Gang shook hands, pretending to be surprised. "Have you also heard of the Independent Regiment?" Zhao Gang exclaimed excitedly. "Of course, when I first arrived in northwest Shanxi, I heard about the achievements of the 8th Route Army. Li Yunlong, the commander of the new regiment of the 386th Brigade, broke through the Sakata United Front with his remaining soldiers in the Battle of Kangyanling, and even killed Sakata Nobutaka with a single shot, showcasing his Chinese spirit. However, it is said that Li Yunlong, the leader of the new regiment, was demoted due to disobedience to command, and later transferred to the Independent Regiment as its leader." Suyi pretended to be excited and said, "As a Chinese man, I naturally have to sacrifice my life and shed my blood for the country. To be honest, I came to join the 8th Route Army. If I were to choose a unit, the Independent Regiment would be my first choice." Upon hearing this, Wei Monk, who was listening on the side, was stunned. "Wait a moment. Brother, what did you say earlier?" Li Yunlong. Wei Monk quickly asked, "Are you saying that Captain Li has been transferred to the Independent Regiment, and Zhao Jing Zero is the political zero of Captain Li Yunlong?" Zhao Gang. "Yes, what's wrong?" Upon hearing this, Wei Daiyong's face immediately burst into ecstasy. Zhao Gang saved the life of Wei Monk and also revealed the idea of wanting Wei Monk to join the 8th Route Army along the way. But as a monk from the Jin Sui Army, Wei felt that the equipment and food of the 8th Route Army were poor, so he did not plan to join the army. However, upon hearing the opportunity to become a general under Li Yunlong's command, Wei Daiyong's attitude immediately changed.
When I was in the prisoner of war camp, I heard from the prisoners of the Central Zero Army that during the Battle of Kangyunling, Captain Li disobeyed military orders and broke through the Sakata Brigade head-on. With the strength of 300 people, the enemy was tough and 1,000 strong soldiers. This greatly shook the morale of the National Army. I have been locked up in a prisoner of war camp these days, and I don't know the news outside. It turns out that Captain Li has become the leader of the Independent Regiment, and Zhao Gang is the committee member. I am willing to follow the 8th route. Wei Monk exclaimed excitedly. Li Yunlong's defeat of Sakata in the Battle of Kangyunling can be considered a reputation, and he has indeed gained a lot of reputation in the 8th Route Army and the Jin Sui Army. Wei Monk is one of them. The statements of the young man and Wei Daong in front of him excited Zhao Gang even more, as both the two powerful generals would join the 8th Route Army. The 8th Route Army has 2 more talents. And at this moment, Su Ye's eyes twitched and he noticed something unusual. He suddenly lifted the cover of the Japanese Devils. Su Yi is completely teaching Zhao Gang. Seeking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhao Gang and Wei Daong were startled by Su Ye's sudden action, thinking that Su Yi was going to raise his gun and shoot them. But when Su Yi raised his gun, they realized that Su Yi was not aiming at them, but at a distance. The 3 of them quickly turned around and took a closer look. On a soil slope 200 meters away, there were 3 sneaky little devils in yellow military uniforms. With a loud bang, one of the little devils was hit in the head and fell to the ground. Bang! Immediately after, a bullet flew out of the muzzle of the killed Japanese gun and hit the soil block next to Wei Monk. Wei Monk's heart tightened and he instantly understood that if it weren't for Su Ye's previous shot, he might have been injured at this moment. Zhao Gang and others quickly found a small earthen slope to hide and aimed their guns in the direction of the devils. And on the other side, Su Ye's shot scared the Japanese to the point of numbness. At a distance of over 200 meters, without even aiming, a single shot hit the target. What kind of marksmanship is this, Nima? Let's just fart and retreat first. These devils probably heard the sound of machine guns just now, so they came over and wanted to gather the strength of the fishermen, but they didn't have that ability, Su Yi said. Comrade, this distance must be over 200 meters. That shot was really beautiful just now. Your marksmanship is really impressive. Zhao Gang was even more surprised by Su Yi. He killed a Japanese machine gun squad alone, which can be described as wise, brave, and fierce. And Su Ye's just shot showed his superb marksmanship. This is truly an all-around talent. Zhao Jing Zero Committee, there are 2 more devils. The one on the left is for you, and the one on the right is for me, Su Yi said, okay. Zhao Gang is also an excellent sniper, and encountering Su Yi also ignited his desire to win or lose. He picked up the .38 large cover, focused for 3 seconds, and then his index finger pulled the trigger. Bang! A bullet accurately pierced through the chest of the Japanese. Zhao Jing Zero, good marksmanship. Wei Monk immediately exclaimed in admiration. Although he killed the Japanese, Zhao Gang didn't show much joy. He didn't shoot the little Japanese's head with a single shot, which didn't demonstrate his strong sniper skills. The main thing is that the Japanese are moving, and if it's a fixed target, even if it's up to 200 meters away, Zhao Gang has confidence to shoot his head with 1 shot. Bang! 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 When they arrived at Su Yi, to their surprise, Su Yi fired 4 shots in a row. Zhao just fired 1 shot and killed the Japanese. When Su Yi fired 4 shots in a row, it was obvious that he couldn't afford it. Not to mention, after these 4 shots, the devil on the mountain hasn't died yet, struggling on the ground. Not even 4 shots killed. Is that a stroke of luck? Wei Monk is a bit confused, this luck is also too good. Su Yi withdrew his gun. Wei Monk saw that the Japanese had not died yet, so he wanted to show off his marksmanship. No way. Su Yi gave a cold shout and said, "Leave a living mouth and go see what's going on." Oh, Mengwei nodded. Comrade is right. Zhao Gang turned his head to the guard and said, "Shaoli, please keep an eye on the equipment here. Let's go and take a look." Okay. The security guards stayed in place to guard the bodies of the devils on the ground, while Su Yi, Zhao Gang, and Wei Monk went to the location of the three little devils. As he advanced, Mengwei was still pondering in his heart that if this brother didn't let me shoot, he wouldn't be afraid that I might hit the Japanese and make him lose face, right? However, considering that they had saved his life after all, Mengwei didn't say much. Wei Daong may be a bit foolish, but he is sensible and knows how to repay kindness. Zhao Gang and Su Yi are both his life-saving benefactors. In the future, even Wei Daong has no complaints, as he will continue to work hard for these two people. By the side of that devil, Wei Daong was completely stunned. Zhao Gang next to him also had a shocked face. I saw two blood holes in the palms and left and right ankles of the devil in front of me. It was Su Yi who fought. My goodness. Brother, the 4 shots you just fired intentionally knocked out his hands and feet, making him lose his attacking power. Take him as a prisoner. Wei Monk exclaimed in shock. Sui nodded and didn't say much. Wei Monk swallowed his saliva wildly before realizing how naive his previous thoughts were. This is much more explosive than a direct shot to the head. Because the palms and ankles are obviously smaller targets than the head, and Su Yi fired 4 shots in a row to catch them alive. Not to mention anything else, just daring to make this decision demonstrates a person's strong confidence in their archery skills. Zhao Gang on the side was completely convinced. He thought he had won this shooting, but it turned out he was the clown. Su Yi was completely teaching him. Comrade, it seems that your marksmanship is not simple. Also, from the close combat just now, your skills should have received professional military training, right? Zhao Gang asked. Su Yi nodded and introduced himself to the system, saying, "That's right, I studied special operations at the Fulongzi Military Academy before. This system is also arranged quite thoughtfully." Su Yi, who has been in this lifetime, actually holds the status of an international student at the Fulongzi Military Academy. The Fulongzi Military Academy is a higher military institution in the country of the Brown Bear that trains officers from various branches of the armed forces. It is a research center that studies issues related to contract battles between various branches of the armed forces and group military campaigns. Known as the brain of the Red Army, the cradle of generals, and one of the world's 4 major military academies. Fu Longji's study abroad talents. Zhao Gang exclaimed in surprise, "No wonder we were able to take down a machine gun squad with our bare hands. The marksmanship is also so amazing." Looking at Su Yi, Zhao Gang's eyes showed a thirst for talent. At present, the 8th Root Army is an era of talent shortage, and joining such a person is simply a great thing. "Comrade, I don't know your name yet." Zhao Gang asked. "Su Yi, from Xishan." Su Yi said, "I didn't kill this devil just to catch a living. I don't think the appearance of these 3 devils and the machine gun squad just now was accidental. I'll take them to the independent team for interrogation later to see if we can extract some important intelligence." Okay. Seize supplies and arrive at the team headquarters. Seeking flower reviews. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Came this devil away, clean up the battlefield, and will continue on the road. The 8th Root Army was notorious for being poor, with many weapons and equipment confiscated. In this battle, a total of 15 sets of Japanese equipment were collected, which was a considerable sum of money. As soon as he joined the independent team, he brought 15 sets of Japanese equipment and 2 fierce generals. Zhao Gang was also a bit excited when he thought about it. Under the cleaning of a few people, the supplies were quickly counted out. 15 Japanese caps, 25 cantaloupe grenades, 20 Type 26 pistols, several bullets, 15 bayonets, and 2 military knives. The most important thing is that there is also a Czech machine gun. In addition, there are 15 sets of cotton clothes and 15 pairs of military shoes. Although the cotton clothes have been shot with a few more blood holes, they can be used again after being sewn in the bedding factory. The quality is better than that of the military uniforms of the 8th Route Army. There are too many supplies, so we can only use the little devil's shirt as a cloth bag to pack on the horse. The security guards and Wei Daong walked, Suyi and Zhao Gang rode horses, and the four of them went to the independent and regimental base. On the way, a few people chatted while talking. Zhao Jing, what did you say about Furong Branch Academy just now? What is that? Wei Monk scratched his head and asked in confusion. Upon hearing this, Zhao Gang smiled and said, "It's not Furongzi, it's Fulongzi Implementation College, one of the 4 major military academies in the world today. Comrade Xiao Su is an international student at Fulongzi Military Academy and a very rare talent in China." Oh. Monk Wei nodded vaguely, then smiled foolishly and said, "Regardless of whether it's the Hibiscus branch or the Fulongzi, I don't understand, but it's true that Brother Su can fight." "I can see that." The charming and silly Wei Monk also made Suyi laugh. No matter what year it is, being uneducated is really scary. By the way, Zhao Jing, let's just go and establish our own group. Can Captain Li take us in? Wei Monk asked again. He wants to become a soldier under Li Yunlong's command, but what if Li Yunlong doesn't like him? Zhao Gang affirmed, "Don't worry, the Independent Regiment has suffered a defeat. Now is the time for a shortage of personnel. With your skills, Captain Li will not refuse." "That's good." And Su Yi, who was riding on the horse, raised his mouth slightly. "It is a fact that there is a shortage of people in the independent team, but not to mention anything else. Spread these 15 sets of Japanese equipment in front of Li Yunlong, and with Li Yunlong's open-mindedness, can he not be tempted?" As the sun was about to set, a few people finally arrived at the headquarters of the Du Li Tuan. Salute. The guard soldier saluted several people. "Committee 0, please come this way." After arriving safely at the regimental headquarters, the security guards of the brigade left. The soldiers of the Du Li regiment were tidying up firewood and corn poles to make a fire, but Suyi walked inside and found that the Du Li regiment members looked lifeless. A few days ago, under the leadership of Kong Jia, Du Li Tuan suffered a disastrous defeat in Yangtzuan. One of the special forces of the Japanese attacked Du Li Tuan, causing more than 200 deaths and injuries, while the little Japanese were stunned and did not kill a single one. This battle made the soldiers of the Independent Regiment unable to lift their heads, which is also why the CEO angrily demoted Kong Jia and appointed Li Yunlong as the leader of the Independent Regiment. Only generals with a personality like Li Yunlong can quickly regain the momentum of being defeated by the Independent Regiment. Arriving at the entrance of the regimental leader's headquarters, Zhao Gang turned to Su Yi and Wei Monk and said, "You two wait here, I'll go and report to regimental leader Li first." The two nodded, and Zhao Gang followed a soldier into the upper room. "Report, come in." The little soldier came in and reported, "Captain, the newly appointed Jing committee has arrived." Zhao Gang lifted the door curtain and saw a man with dark skin and a horse face sitting on the kong, drinking sweet potato sauce. Li Yunlong. Li Yunlong was wearing a light blue cotton jacket from the 8th Route Army, which had been buried to a gray-blue color. The dirt on the collar of his shirt was so hard that it had scabbed, and he hadn't washed it for at least 3 months. Li Yunlong noticed someone coming in and looked up at Zhao Gang. Li Yunlong's face immediately drooped. The person in front of him was pure white, with a bookish expression on his face. Obviously, he was also a white-faced scholar. Old Li was most annoyed by those scholars who only knew how to speak but couldn't do it. They were useless and only knew how to chew words. Damn it, the CEO doesn't know what he's thinking.
He knows that our old Li is most annoyed by intellectuals with little practical ability. Why did he send someone like him over again to make me uncomfortable? Thinking of this, Li Yunlong reluctantly picked up the wine bowl. Zhao Gang is a cultured person who respectfully salutes Li Yunlong in a proper manner. Captain Li, I am Zhao Gang, your future work partner. Please help me a lot. After speaking, Zhao Gang reached out and shook hands with Li Yunlong, but Li Yunlong didn't put down his wine bowl at all, didn't even glance at Zhao Gang, took a sip of wine, let alone shake hands with him. Seeing this, Zhao Gang's face didn't look good either. Blatantly violating discipline while drinking in the team headquarters, not to mention slapping oneself in the face and not shaking hands with oneself as soon as we meet, this is to show off to oneself. I, Zhao, just came here alone. Li Tuan is fighting against the Japanese, not to come and see you pretend to be the boss. Another white-faced scholar has arrived. Li Yunlong picked up his wine bowl and reached out to Zhao Gang. Come to Zhao Jing, have a drink. Sorry, I don't know how to drink, Zhao Gang said with a stern expression. I don't know how to drink, so why did you come here alone? Zhao Gang's voice had already begun to convey his displeasure. Li Tuan is for war, not for collecting wine bags and rice bags. It makes sense. Li Yunlong nodded noncommittally and said, it seems that Zhao Jing has fought many battles in the committee. In the future, he will also teach our old Li a lesson, so that we can understand what war is. Li Yunlong's words are full of thorns. In his opinion, Zhao Gang is a scholar who has never fought before and only knows how to talk about military matters on paper. But this time, Li Yunlong really underestimated Zhao Gang. Zhao Gang has fought before. He is a graduate of Yanda University and previously served as an officer in the decisive column, capable of both literature and martial arts. Zhao Gang said seriously, I dare not take it for granted. Let's learn from each other. Upon hearing this, Li Yunlong became even more displeased. That's all for the scholar, he's still a boastful scholar. You, who have never fought before, still want me to learn from you. What do we learn from you? How to learn how to chew words and phrases. How can we talk on paper? How can you learn to be petty? Damn it. Li Yunlong opened the door to the mountain and said, when we first met, we better make our words clear. We should separate the military from the government. We should do our own things. I'm the final say in the war, and you are the final say in life. Is that okay? Of course, it's okay to perform their own duties, but in principle, it's not up to anyone to decide. As long as it's within the responsibilities of the Jing Zero Committee, I will certainly take care of it. The same thing, the regimental leader is in charge of war, the party chief is in charge of daily life, and by the way, there is also political and ideological work. As for the rest, you should not worry too much. It seems that the leader really needs to learn more. This is just a simple military viewpoint, and the higher-ups have already criticized it. You don't have to chew words with me. We're a rough guy who can't beat the devils by talking nonsense, right? Don't play around with me like that. I can't figure out why fighting is just a blind fight. Do you still fight for the devils? Zhao Gang said. Bullshit. Li Yunlong is angry. You, a newcomer, dare to talk back to me like this. Li Yunlong knocked his wine bowl on the table and said, aren't you arguing with me? Committee 0, your room has been arranged. At this moment, a soldier came to report at the entrance of the regimental headquarters. Got it, I'll be there soon. Later, Zhao Gang looked at Li Yunlong again and said, Captain Li, in 5 minutes, gather Deputy Commander Kong to turn at the headquarters. I have important intelligence to report. Li Yunlong glanced sideways at Zhao Gang, but didn't pay attention. Thinking to yourself, what kind of legitimate intelligence can you have? Please give a flower evaluation ticket as a reward. If the flowers exceed 2,000 on the first day, it will be 10 more. Upon hearing about Su Yi, Kong Jie, and Li Yunlong, they were all shocked. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Zhao Gang went down to arrange accommodation. After a while, Kong Jie also arrived at the Youth League headquarters. Kong Jie and Li Yunlong sat on the Kong, one drinking alcohol and the other smoking a long dry cigarette. I said how my eyelids have been twitching these past few days, and I just jumped out of here. Li Yunlong and Kong Jie are old comrades in arms. When they first joined the army, they were assigned to the same class. They were brothers who had used a urinal and wore a pair of pants. There was almost no conversation between Li and Kong Jie. Li Yunlong imitated Zhao Gang's tone of voice and said, "Alas, there is another important intelligence report to you, fart." What important situation can he have? Kong Jie, holding his dry cigarette in his mouth, also smiled and said, Don't be discouraged. The reason why his superiors sent him here is that they also sent him to call. If you don't know a few big characters, it's time someone educated you well. What's wrong with not knowing a few words? I've been a team leader for so many years and I've never seen anyone worse, especially you Kong Erlengzi. Kong Jie sneered and said, "Yes, I think you're unlucky, but you're not much stronger than me. Your new regiment has just developed, your combat effectiveness has improved, and your equipment has also improved. As a result, it hasn't become Ding Wei's wedding dress yet. It's useless if you're angry. Well, just call it a 1-for-1. In the Battle of Kangyunling, although Li Yunlong led the new regiment to defeat Sakata, he dismissed his position as regimental commander due to disobeying military orders. The new Ding Wei enjoyed the opportunity and directly assumed the position of regimental commander of the new regiment. Later on, it was Kong Jie's Duli regiment that suffered a humiliating battle. Li Yunlong was reinstated as the regimental commander, but he became the regimental commander of the Duli regiment. Now Ding Wei has become the new leader of the regiment. Li Yunlong has taken over Kong Jie's independent standing regiment, and Kong Jie has become Li Yunlong's deputy leader. If you don't mention Ding Wei, I forgot. He still has a heavy gift to give me. Nonsense, what can he give you as a gift? The two were chatting when Zhao Gang had already walked in. Kong Jie immediately got off the Kong and saluted Zhao Gang, saying, "Kong Jie, the deputy commander of the Independent Regiment." Zhao Gang. The two shook hands, and Zhao Gang smiled and said, "I've heard of you before in the brigade. You're an old revolutionary, brave in battle, and have a tough style. I should learn more from you. I don't dare to welcome the arrival of the committee members." Kong Jie and Zhao Gang greeted politely, while Li Yunlong on the Kong said directly, "Vice Commander Kong has arrived. If you have any intelligence, please report it. It's like this, when I came here, I met a young man who was being chased by the Japanese. He was a prisoner of war who had escaped from a prisoner of war camp and killed 4 Japanese soldiers with his bare hands. The puppet army wanted to shoot him, but I ran away." Li Yunlong listened intently and let out a cold snort in his heart. Why don't you blow people up to the sky after killing 4 Japanese soldiers with bare hands and escaping from the prisoner of war camp? Intellectuals love to brag. I think his understanding of the prisoner of war camp is valuable, so I brought him over. Zhao Gang shouted towards the door, "Wei Daong, come in." So, a tall man walked in. Due to being too tall, one can lower their head when entering the door, otherwise they will bump into the door frame. "Hello, sir." Wei Daong gave a military salute to Kong Jie and Li Yunlong. Li Yunlong and Kong Jie immediately felt a surge of love when they saw Monk Wei. Because both of them have a keen eye for war all year round. Whether a soldier's quality is good or not can be seen at a glance. The child in front of them, with his body in a pestle, knows he is a fierce general. "Just you, killed 4 devils with your bare hands?" Li Yunlong asked. "It's just 4 devils. If you don't have a gun, it's okay to have 2 more." At this moment, Wei Daong is very excited because his idol Li Yunlong is right in front of him,
but he doesn't know who these two people on the Kong are and who Li Yunlong is. Zhao Gang introduced, Wei Daong was a squad leader of the 72nd Division of the Central Zero Army. During the Battle of Shinko, the 72nd Division was defeated by the Sakata Brigade, and he was injured and captured. He had just escaped from the Japanese prisoner of war camp, and by the way, he had been a monk in Shaolin Temple for 10 years. No wonder he didn't do well. Did you mobilize him from the committee? Kong Jia asked. At first, he heard us say that the 8th Route Army was not planning to join, and that the equipment and food of the 8th Route Army were poor. But when he learned that it was Li Yunlong's army, he changed his mind. Zhao Gang smiled and said, he even said that the 8th Route Army is not good, only Li Yunlong's Independent Regiment can do it. Hi. Li Yunlong was overjoyed when he heard this and said, it seems that our old Li still has some connections. Young man, you can join my army led by Li Yunlong now. Sir, are you Li Yunlong? Wei Monk revealed his white teeth and smiled at Li Yunlong. Why doesn't it look like that? If it's a fake exchange, I'm Li Yunlong, said Li Yunlong. In the middle, Captain Li, I followed you. Wei Daong exclaimed excitedly, I heard of you in the prisoner of war camp. I dared to confront Sakata and fight with bayonets, and even killed him with one shot. I want to follow you. Ha. Li Yunlong was praised by others for being comfortable all over, very proud, and said with a sigh. A Sakata, why bother mentioning it? By the way, Captain Li, if I could all work with you, one of my brothers is another expert whom Zhao Zhang and I met on the road. His strength. I think he is stronger than me, and he can definitely join the Independent Youth League. Wei Daong exclaimed excitedly. Who is it? You're even more skilled than me. Li Yunlong took it seriously. It's such a leader. Zhao Gang said, Wei Daong and I met another person on the road. He was surrounded by a Japanese machine gun team and then killed a Japanese machine gun team with his bare hands. A whole of 12 people. Ah! Divine horse. Upon hearing this, Kong Jia and Li Yunlong's smiles abruptly stopped, revealing great shock. The dry smoke on Kong Jia's hand has all fallen off, and the ash has scattered all over the Kong. Li Yunlong also knocked over the wine bowl in his hand. Kong Jia said in a daze, oh my god. 1 to 12, this damn king of war. Damn it, where is he? Take me to see him. Li Yunlong went straight down the Kong to find Su Yi. Is the flowers so miserable? If the flowers are over 2,000, it will be 10 o'clock. Keep your word. 7 entered the Independent Regiment, the prisoner spoke up. Seeking 1. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. A person handed over an entire machine gun squad, but it shocked Kong Jia and Li Yunlong. Such talents need to go out and see their level. Li Yunlong left the Youth League headquarters with doubts and saw a tall young man sitting on a wooden stool resting against the wall at the entrance. He had not changed clothes yet and was still wearing a Japanese military coat. Li Yunlong, Kong Jia, and others arrived at Su Ye's side. Su Yi stood up and saluted Li Yunlong and Kong Jia, saying, Captain, hello Deputy Captain. Zhao Gang introduced, this is the fierce general he met on his way here, Su Yi. He is an international student at the Fulongzi Military Academy and a true military talent. He has now returned to China and is preparing to serve his country. Fulongzi Military Academy. Li Yunlong was stunned for a moment, glanced at Kong Jia, and both of them looked bewildered. These two mud-legged regimental leaders haven't read for a few days, so they haven't heard of the Fulongzi Military Academy. Su Yi looked at Li Yunlong's perfect interpretation of what it meant to be an unknowingly fierce expression, which was also somewhat amusing. Our old Li is not a cultured person who only knows how to fight. He doesn't know anyone who doesn't have a college, he only knows that being able to fight is a good soldier. Li Yunlong said, it's you who killed a Japanese machine gun team with your bare hands. Suyi smiled slightly and said, "It's not worth mentioning." Li Yunlong also chuckled, this soldier's personality really suits his appetite. How can one person destroy the reorganized 12-person machine gun squad? We, Old Li, have never heard of it before. How can we prove that you are bragging? Li Yunlong is a bit skeptical. Captain Li, Brother Su took advantage of the little devil's carelessness and killed 4 machine gunners, snatching machine guns and causing the rest of the devils to pounce. What I and Zhao Gang saw with our own eyes is true, Wei and Shang said. Zhao Gang nodded and said, "Yes, Captain Li. I can testify that Su Ye's battle demonstrated his calmness and wisdom as a soldier." However, Li Yunlong still had a skeptical expression. Su Yi smiled and wanted to dispel Li Yunlong's doubts. It was not simple. If you don't believe it, just look at the materials captured in this battle and you will know that the materials are outside the door and won't lie. Upon hearing the supplies, Li Yunlong immediately became overjoyed and said, "Someone, hurry up and bring the supplies over to show me." Li Yunlong, who is always stingy and open-minded, is nothing happier than counting supplies. In no time, 2 soldiers came dragging a cart, which was covered with a black cloth. The black cloth was lifted, and inside were all the materials seized in this battle. What caught the eye were 14 sets of cotton jackets and 14 square army boots, which were supposed to be 15 sets, but 1 set was on Su Ye's body. Under the clothes, there was a neat list of 15 Japanese lids, 20 Type 26 pistols, several bullets, 25 cantaloupe grenades, 15 bayonets, and 2 military knives shining brightly in the sunlight. The most prominent position is also a Czech machine gun. Kong Jie saw a cart full of Japanese weapons and his eyes lit up. "Li Yunlong, you're so damn rich." Kong Jie really felt a bit envious, jealous, and resentful. Old Li, who was stunned, gained 2 fierce generals and made a small windfall. Most importantly, he also added a Czech-style machine gun, which is much stronger than a crooked handle. Kong Jie himself also understood that although he was not the main commander now, he would be reinstated in a few days. These materials and the like cannot all belong to Li Yunlong. Li Yunlong's rough hand touched the Czech style, showing an overjoyed smile and saying, "Ha ha ha. All right, with this Czech style, we now have 4 machine guns. Let me tell you, no one is allowed to make a fuss about this matter. If the brigade commander also knows, even the cooked duck's neck will fly." Upon hearing this, Suyi also smiled. Li Yunlong was really shameless. He didn't know what to do. He thought these supplies were his own. But that's not important anymore. I still have a question. There are a total of 15 sets of equipment, and the Japanese machine gun team only has 12 people. Where did they get the extra 3 sets of equipment from? Li Yunlong asked again. It's like this. After exchanging fire with the machine gun squad, Comrade Su attracted 3 nearby devils. Comrade Su reacted quickly and we found out that we also killed these 3 devils. Zhao Gang also told Li Yunlong about the process of Su Ye's sniping of the devils. After listening, Li Yunlong and Kong Jie were even more shocked. Over 200 meters away, all 4 shots deliberately avoided the key points and hit the palms and ankles. This gun is really amazing. This time, Li Yunlong did not doubt it, because this prisoner was in the independent group, and that prisoner was evidence. Xiao Su is really the king of war. He can fight 12 times in close combat, and his marksmanship is so precise. He is truly a top student in the military academy, amazing. Kong Jie exclaimed sincerely. What a soldier. I, Li Yunlong, have been taught this time. You can follow me, Li Yunlong, to fight the Japanese. Li Yunlong looked at Su Yi nodding repeatedly and said seriously. Received 2 fierce generals and supplies. Li Yunlong feels happy in his heart. Old money, old money. Li Yunlong shouted twice, and soon a veteran with glasses appeared in the factory behind the regimental headquarters. Lao Wang's name is Qianyu, and he is a cadre in the logistics department of the Independent Regiment. Go arrange 2 rooms for Xiao Su and Xiao Wei, and then change into suitable clothes. Yes. This also means that Wei Daong and Su Yi officially entered the Independent Regiment. Captain. Wei Daong looked at Li Yunlong and asked, "What position is it for me to stand alone?" After swaying his hands behind Wei Monk's back twice, Li Yunlong thought for a moment and said, "Xiao Su's achievements are all based on materials and evidence from prisoners of war. But you said you killed 4 Japanese soldiers with bare hands in the prisoner of war camp, but there is no evidence. Show me your hands." Upon hearing this, Su Yi, who was standing next to him, started watching the play. If nothing unexpected happens, Li Yunlong is about to experience a major Waterloo accident. I would say that intellectuals love to brag and can even talk about things they haven't seen. Wei Daong's face lit up with displeasure. "Captain Li, you said I can, but Zhao Gang is my life-saving benefactor. If you don't believe me, then let's give it a try." Li Yunlong really wants to fight Wei Daong. He has been practicing martial arts since childhood and even used his head to hit a stone roller to practice iron head skill. In terms of martial arts, Li Yunlong has never defeated anyone in the 8th Route Army. Okay, Li Yunlong immediately agreed. Wei Daong's eyes turned cold, and he immediately swung a palm knife towards Li Yunlong's lower abdomen. Ah! The speed was very fast, and Li Yunlong had nowhere to dodge. Upon closer inspection, Li Yunlong's person had already flown 5 meters away. The bile is almost being pumped out. Pushi. Su Yi turned around and chuckled. As expected, some of the plot couldn't be avoided. Zhao Gang saw that Captain Li had been beaten away by a soldier. What kind of behavior was this? He immediately stepped forward and shouted coldly, "Wei Daong, what are you doing?" "Zhao Gang, I." Wei Monk looked aggrieved. It was clearly agreed by Captain Li, but he couldn't beat me himself. Who knew that Captain Li was so incompetent? Ha ha ha, it's okay, it's okay. I saw Li Yunlong standing up against the wall, patting the dust on their thighs and saying, "We're just fighting. You're such a good kid, you really have some skills." This palm can hit Li Yunlong quite lightly, and it can knock people up to 5 meters away with one palm, which is not the strength of ordinary people. Li Yunlong now believes that the kid in front of him really has the strength to fight 4 times with bare hands. I just arrived at the Independent Regiment and I don't have a guard yet. You can temporarily become a guard for me, Li Yunlong thought for a moment and said. Middle. If it were someone else, Wei Monk would certainly not agree, but he would be happy to serve Li Yunlong as a guard. I am willing to be Captain Li's guard. Report. Just as Li Yunlong was thinking about what position to offer Su Yi, a voice suddenly came in his ear. A soldier approached Li Yunlong and reported, "Captain. The prisoner brought by Zhao Gang has something to say. Thank you for the 1000 VIP reward from Time and Space Shinyu. There will be a night shift, and the flowers are now at 11:57. After 2000, there will be 10 shifts. Jiajiatun has important intelligence. Seeking everything. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay. Damn it. I want to hear what kind of information the little devil's captives can reveal. Maybe it's really important information." Li Yunlong walked towards the factory where the prisoners were being held captive. Actually, Su Yi also felt that this matter was not quite right. The group of machine gun squads they killed got lost in the wilderness, and their goal was to go to a place called Jia Family Village. The fact that a reorganized machine gun squad of the Japanese went to Jiajia village was a valuable piece of intelligence to study, and Su Yi didn't think the sudden appearance of the 3 Japanese was accidental. Su Yi speculated that these 3 devils were likely 3 communication or reception soldiers who came to pick up this group of lost machine gun teams. However, the machine gun squad has already been slaughtered halfway, and their own lives have also been taken. Su Yi, Zhao Gang, and others followed Li Yunlong towards the factory building. Ding! Detected that the host has successfully joined the 8th Route Army's Independent Regiment and obtained an MP-18 submachine gun X-10, the reward is already in the system space and can be called up by the host at any time. At this moment, the sound of the system came to Su Ye's mind. MP-18 submachine guns, still 10. The MP-18 submachine gun has gained a good reputation among the military, nicknamed the handheld flower machine gun, due to its ability to fire continuously like a machine gun, as well as the many heat dissipation holes on the barrel. Using 9 by 19 mm caliber bullets with a magazine capacity of 32 rounds, this submachine gun is mostly equipped in more elite assault or guard teams. If I were to take out these 10 assault guns myself, Li Yunlong's big mouth would surely smile like a hippopotamus. Su Yi is very satisfied, but also a bit worried. After all, my current identity has not yet reached the level of a commander, and I have turned out 10 submachine guns out of thin air. It is true that there is no reasonable explanation. If you are a regimental commander or something like that, it's different. In a battle, the rewards from the system can be stored in the confiscated materials. Just as Su Yi was worried about how to get these 10 guns out, the sound of the system came to his mind again. Detected that the host has become a member of the Independent Regiment of the 386th Brigade of the 8th Route Army, triggering the main development trend. Development Main Line 1. Become a Buddhist-style soldier in the Duli Lituan, obedient to Li Yunlong's commands. Reward the title of Nuo Bing. Development Mainline 2. Within 3 months, the host will develop into a regimental commander of the 8th Route Army. After completing the mission, they will receive a production line of various types of bullets multiplied by 1. It is impossible for a coward soldier to be a coward soldier. In my past life, I was a special forces soldier in China, and in this life, I cannot be a coward soldier. Since I have become a soldier, I must become a commander. Su Yi decisively chose the second option. But this option is also quite challenging. In 3 months, I will develop into a regimental commander in the 8th Route Army. Captain. It should be noted that a normal soldier in the army may not have the opportunity to be promoted for several years. In 3 months, being able to be promoted from a soldier to a platoon leader is already quite good. Especially from the position of regimental commander, it has a completely different position compared to a battalion commander. The ordinary development path is definitely not feasible. After becoming the official position of independent battalion commander, if you want to break through and become a battalion commander, you must make some big moves. The difficulty of the task is evident. However, it all depends on human factors. Su Yi had some expectations. After all, it was a bullet production line of various models, and for poor 8 Road, this reward was too tempting. Quickly, Li Yunlong and others arrived at the factory building. I saw a Japanese man with blood holes in both hands and feet, bound to a elm tree stump. All his valuable belongings had been looted, leaving only a 4-cornered shorts and a white shirt. The weather in November is not yet deep winter, but the Japanese are wearing too little and shivering from the cold. Li Yunlong was afraid that the Japanese would freeze to death, so he ordered his subordinates to take a straw mat to cover the Japanese. It's not the holy mother of Li Yunlong, mainly because Li Yunlong was afraid that he wouldn't get the intelligence if he died. After the Japanese finished sharing the intelligence, he stabbed him directly. With Li Yunlong's stingy personality, he wouldn't even waste a bullet on the Japanese. Captain, no one here can speak Japanese. This devil was just shouting, but later we communicated through body language, and his meaning was to exchange intelligence for a life, said the soldier in charge of guarding the prisoners. Zhao Gang, the intelligence of the Japanese is very important to us. Do you know Japanese? Li Yunlong thought of the importance of being a scholar at this moment. I learned Japanese before at Yanda University and I know a little bit. Su Yi knew that Zhao Gang was humble. Zhao Gang has a strong ability in foreign languages, which is on the same level as Japanese translation. At the time of the attack on the Yamazaki Brigade, Li Yunlong, in order to buy time for the soldiers to lay aside their grenades, found someone to hold a black horn and shout to the Yamazaki Brigade. The translator at that time was in Japanese. After the shout was completed, the entire team could not understand and did not speak. Only Zhao Gang, feeling very helpless, said, "What era is it? It's not the Middle Ages, it's still a duel." This sentence demonstrated Zhao Gang's Japanese language ability. If Zhao Gang couldn't understand Japanese, he wouldn't have come to such a conclusion. It's very impressive. "If you have anything to say, just say it," Zhao Gang said to the prisoner in Japanese. Seeing Zhao Gang communicating with the Japanese devils, Li Yunlong's mind was slightly moved. It seems that this white-faced scholar is not useless either. He has a bit of culture and is somewhat useful. "Ladies and gentlemen, I am a communication soldier stationed in Jiajiatun village." The Japanese prisoner chattered for over a minute about something that Li Yunlong couldn't understand, and then looked at the 8th Route Army in front of him with a pleading expression. "Is there any other situation?" Zhao Gang asked. The devil shook his head vigorously. It seemed that there was nothing more to say. "Lao Zhao, what did this little devil tell you?" Li Yunlong changed his tone and called him Lao Zhao. Zhao Gang said with a solemn expression, "Captain, there is an important situation in Jiajiatun village. A reward of 1,000 VIP points has arrived, and now there are 10 more flowers after 2,000. If this battle becomes a platoon leader for you. Seeking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Upon hearing a few words of important information, Li Yunlong's ears immediately perked up. Zhao Gang said, "This prisoner just explained that his unit is called Jinchuan Brigade, and there is a transfer of military supplies in the brigade, and the stronghold of Jiajiatun is the transfer point of military supplies. The machine gun squad that Comrade Xiaosu encountered was undergoing a military supply transfer within the brigade. However, the machine gun squad got lost halfway through. The Japanese at the Jiajiatun stronghold sent 3 communication soldiers to pick them up, and then Comrade Xiaosu annihilated the squad. When the two armies engage in war, food and supplies are given priority, and the transfer of military supplies is also a common occurrence in the war. However, the transfer of military supplies is a secret operation, which is divided into several waves and takes different routes, and is rarely discovered. This machine gun squad got lost and was discovered by Suyi, which is considered their misfortune." Li Yunlong nodded and pondered, "I understand. So, the stronghold of Jiajiatun is now a piece of fat. This intelligence is indeed quite impressive." Li Yunlong decided to carefully discuss it and ordered, "Wei Daong and Su Yi, you two should go down first. Old Kong, please come back to the Youth League headquarters with me and we can discuss it together. By the way." Li Yunlong glanced at Zhao Gang and immediately avoided his opponent's command, saying, "Slay this prisoner as well. Damn it, what I hate the most is traitors. Do you really think that telling me the information can save my life?" According to Li Yunlong's personality, he wouldn't abide by the Geneva Conventions. Independent Lituan branch. A middle room above. "Old Kong, I have something important to discuss with you," Li Yunlong said seriously. "Li Yunlong, we are brothers wearing the same pair of pants and shorts. I still don't know how careful you are," Kong Jia chuckled while smoking a dry cigarette. "If you fart, I can guess what you're eating. Are you targeting Jiajiatun, kid?" Kong Jia looked through Li Yunlong's expression. Hee hee. "Old Kong, the key is that this is a piece of fat that has been delivered to your mouth. Look, Jiajiatun is only about 40 miles away from us, and a big piece of fat is smearing oil on your mouth. Don't you want to take a bite?" Li Yunlong chuckled and held a measuring stick, surveying the actual distance on the map. "It's really over 40 miles, Kong Jia glared. "These little devils are really brave enough. The military supplies are almost being transferred to our regimental headquarters. To be honest, Kong Jia is really a bit sour. Having obtained supplies from 2 generals and a small team, as well as discovering such a good fighter jet, how could Li Yunlong's life be so good? Lao Li, I support you in this battle, Kong Jia said. Li Yunlong nodded and said, doing one vote is definitely necessary, but knowing oneself and the enemy is the key to winning 100 battles. According to my analysis, the reason why Jiajiatun became a military supply transfer point for the Japanese was because there was a big trader in Jiajiatun. That trader was originally a deputy regimental commander of the Central Zero Army. During the Battle of Yangchuan, the Sakata Squadron, this kid led his troops to make a decision and defected to the Japanese. This kid didn't do well as a soldier, but he became a trader and rose to fame. He became the captain of the 9th Mixed Brigade of the Imperial Army, not to mention, he could also become a military supply transfer point. This kid must have hidden a lot of good treasures now. Li Yunlong cursed, damn it, as soon as I hear the word traitor, I get angry and dispatch 200 people. It's enough to kill them. Kong Jia also nodded and said, quickly attack 40 miles and sneak on them while it's dark. We're sure to win this battle. However, Lao Li, this battle in Jiajiatun is very important to us. The morale of our independent team is low, and if we want to fight a comeback battle to boost morale, we need to call all the good players from the team over. Who are you planning to send? Kong Jia looked at Li Yunlong with a smile on his face. As an old comrade of Li Yunlong for many years, he actually thought that in this battle, Li Yunlong might want Su Yi to participate in this operation. Li Yunlong assigned Wei Daong the position of a guard, but on the contrary, Su Yi was not assigned any position by Li Yunlong. Kong Jia was clear about Li Yunlong's doubts. Wei Daong was a small squad leader of the 72nd Division of the Central Zero Army, and this can be found through investigation, so there is no need to question it. But what about Su Yi? He said he is an international student at the Fulongzi Military Academy, but there is no evidence available. It is very dangerous for such a mysterious person to invest all their trust from the beginning. What if it were an undercover agent sent by the Japanese? Although the probability of being an undercover agent is unlikely, after all, if the Little Devils really send an undercover agent over and let Su Yi act and kill a whole team of Little Devils in front of Zhao Gang, the cost would be too high. But being cautious is ultimately necessary. To be honest, Xiao Su's identity is a bit mysterious, but I never doubted him. Li Yunlong said seriously, our old Li has been in battle for so many years and is very accurate in judging people. There is no need to doubt the use of people. This action will be seen as a test for him. If he completes the task, give him a platoon leader when he comes back and let him start as a platoon leader. I think it's okay too. After a while, Li Yunlong called Su Yi to the regimental headquarters. Captain, Deputy Captain. Su Yi saluted Li Yunlong and Kong Jia. Li Yunlong said, Xiao Su, I have an important task to assign to you. After discussing with Deputy Commander Kong, we have decided to launch a surprise attack on Jiajiatun. Don't be idle and join the battle. Later, you can go to Lao Qian's place and get a rifle, equipped with 100 bullets and 2 hand grenades. Yes, Su Yi agreed. Li Yunlong said again, besides, Xiao Su, we all know that you have strong abilities. If you win this battle, come back and be promoted to platoon leader. Platoon leader. Su Yi smiled at the words. I'll be in line as soon as I come up. Platoon leader, company leader, battalion leader, regiment leader. This main development task is about to be completed by January 4th. The flowers have already passed the 2000s and are starting to rise. Also, thank you to Hehehe for giving you a 1000 VIP reward and adding a chapter for you. The review ticket is only 85 now, and if it exceeds 100, it will be added. Let the banquet wine of the Little Devils turn into sacrificial wine. You are listening at novelfull.audio. By the way, don't tell Wei Daong about this operation for now. His injuries are not good, and there will be a chance for him to fight after his injuries are healed. Yes. Sui agreed and went to the military district to collect his gun and bullets. Now, Kong Jia and Li Yunlong were left in the team headquarters. Kong Jia's eyes turned and he said, "Old Li, let's talk about the command this time. Let me lead the team for this operation." "Why are you leading the team?" Li Yunlong said, "I'm now the leader of the Independent Regiment, and you're just a deputy. You have to listen to me." "Li Yunlong, why are you so kind-hearted as a donkey liver and lung? You used a battalion's troops to attack a village without telling your superiors. This is not a small matter. If the brigade commander knows, it will be enough for us to have a drink." He. Li Yunlong smiled. "Thinking about saving your old Kong's two fickle thoughts, I still don't know. You, old Kong, just want to gain some military achievements through this battle. Let's not mention whether you are an official or not, at least when you return to your original position, you, Kong Jia, can get a share of the benefits from this battle." At this moment, Li Yunlong didn't care whether his brothers were brothers or not. He waited for his eyes and said, "Kong Erlangzi, let's speak clearly face-to-face. Although we are brothers from the same class, I think it's better for our brothers to keep track of our accounts. I clearly said that you, the deputy leader, are just a wheat cutter who works part-time with me. It's hard to say that you will be transferred to Fujian one day. Let's put the ugly words first. The materials seized in the Independent Regiment now have nothing to do with you, old Kong." Upon hearing Li Yunlong's words, Kong Jia was also unhappy and angrily took out the long dry smoke. "Look at what you're saying, if two brothers do business, they should earn money for two people. Even if they split in the future, it should be half for one person." Kong Jia said, "Don't worry, I'll only take my share. Get what you get, I understand. Let's just pretend we didn't say anything." Li Yunlong quickly stopped and said, "From now on, as the team leader, I will arrange the next stage of work. The 2nd Battalion of the Independent Regiment is currently reducing its staffing and has a poor foundation. Comrade Kong Jia's team has decided to send you to the 2nd Battalion to assist the commander in training." Li Yunlong smiled and said, "As for the other work in the team, you don't have to worry about it." Ha ha ha. Kong Jia was immediately enraged and said, Li Yunlong, this is official revenge. I haven't gotten to know you for so many years. You've always wanted to take advantage of any benefits you've had, okay? I don't care about this deal anymore. The benefits belong to you alone. Is it okay for the head office this time? Do you keep your word? One mouthful of foam, one nail. Okay, Comrade Kong Jia, after careful consideration by the Youth League Committee, we have decided to give you an important task of leading troops to launch a surprise attack on Jiajiatun. What? Upon hearing this, Kong Jia's eyes widened and he said, Li Yunlong, dare you damn me. After wandering around, it wasn't me who led the team in the end, but rather the seized materials had nothing to do with him. Kong Jia pointed a cigarette stick at Li Yunlong's head and was about to smash it, who was running and bumping in the regiment. After a while, Kong Jia has gathered at the entrance of a battalion with the soldiers participating in the battle. For the Independent Regiment, this battle is crucial both in terms of morale and various aspects. The Independent Legion urgently needs a victory to wash away the shame, while adding some supplies and equipment. Jiajiatun is the best opportunity. After a sumptuous meal in the regiment headquarters, 200 soldiers from a battalion who participated in the battle stepped on the sunrise and headed to Jiajiatun in the early morning. In the evening, a battalion arrived near Jiajiatun, and Kong Jia had already made contact with the local district team in Jiajiatun. Li Yunlong had already contacted the district team in advance before taking action. Are all the messages accurate? In the dilapidated wooden house, Kong Jia came up straight to the point. A member of the district team carrying a pole looked around and confirmed that there was no one, then said, Deputy Commander Kong, we have already figured out the details of Jiajiatun. There is a brigade of the 9th Mixed Brigade of the Imperial Army in Jiajiatun. Currently, Jiajiatun is engaged in the turnover of military supplies, and there are not many personnel inside, only over 500 people. It has 1 infantry company, 1 cavalry company, and 1 machine gun company under its jurisdiction. The machine gun company has 5 machine gun teams under its command, with a total of 10 machine guns, all of which are Czech style, but for some reason, it seems like one is missing today. Kong Jie certainly knew why these little devils were missing a machine gun squad, because they were slaughtered by Su Yi. Okay. What other intelligence is there? Kong Jie asked again. There is one more thing. Jia Fugue, the richest man in Jiajiatun, is preparing to hold a banquet tonight to invite Li Guizi, the captain of the 9th Mixed Brigade of the Imperial Army. Half of the young men in the village will come, said the members of the district team. Damn it, the scumbag and the traitor got together. The Jia family village is about to become a gathering place for the Japanese and traitors. The Shihuang army is in power, and the wealthy merchants in the village collude with the Shihuang army. Is this special still good? Let the little devils and traitors go to hell together tonight. Kong Jie said in a cold voice. Kong Jie called Su Yi over and explained the situation inside Jia family village. Xiao Su, the situation inside Jiajiatun has been thoroughly understood. Tonight is a great opportunity for a surprise attack. Kong Jie ordered, I led my troops to break through from the front, and you led a small group of troops to stab the enemy's territory from behind, slaughtering both the puppet officers and the enemy. Ding. Detects the current situation of the host and triggers selection, option 1. When a deserter on the battlefield saves his life, let Kong Jie lead a team to fight against the enemy alone. Reward. 1 bulletproof vest, option 2. Encircle with Kong Jie and bring along the little devils and traitors from Jiajiatun. Reward. Special Forces Training Manual plus Special Operations Equipment x 20 sets. Is there any other option here? Su Yi naturally chose the second option and immediately turned to Kong Jie, saying, give me a copy of the map of Jiajiatun, and leave the rest to me. The members of the district team handed Su Yi a map, which he had temporarily drawn during the day, but the important landmarks were already very clear. Su Ye's voice sounded cold and said, tonight, let the little devil's banquet wine be turned into sacrificial wine. Continue to ask for a flower evaluation ticket for a reward. If the evaluation ticket exceeds 100, there will be more rewards. Thank you all.